Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. I'm David, and today, peak performance, the Sakharov, the shuttle that started it all, and in some ways continues it all. Um, Federation shuttle. This is a 1-2-2-2, 14 points. May need a discount, probably needs a discount, but uh, you're not bringing this for the sake of combat. That's never why shuttles were brought into the game. At the start of the game, during the Gather Forces step, you can purchase one additional crew or tech for this ship. This upgrade may exceed the starting ship's restrictions, and it costs 2 less points down to a min of 0. So really, when we say, hey, this ship has crew tech, it has double crew or it has double tech. So crew double tech or double crew tech. And that gives you tons of options. Options are one of our favorite words here. Uh, Shuttles have a whole bunch of rules here. That's not the purpose of my re-review, my look back here at the shuttles. More so, it's to point out that shuttles brought a lot of flexibility to the game. They brought in this idea that you could have a ship that could dock with a capital ship, and you could add a bunch more stuff to it and get past the 50-point rule. That is the main idea behind shuttles. If you love Calvin Hudson because he gives you all the discounts in the world, great, you're in Calvin Hudson on your big ship. You stack 50 points of upgrades. And then you bring a shuttle in, you dock, and you actually get a good captain. That's the whole idea behind shuttles. I love shuttles. I have a love-hate with shuttles. But I love the ideas that are there. They are a great way to hide points, keep them safe, keep a ship docked. Things get kind of weird. They're not always thematic, but they're kind of cool. I still wish we had runabouts in the game because those are just better shuttles and maybe combat-oriented shuttles. And I think that would add a nice element to Attack Wing that I think is kind of missing. They don't move fast. 1 and 2 speeds. Best thing you can do is 2 banks, and that ends up being essentially 3 straights over time. I do love 2 come about. 1 and 2 come abouts as white. Pretty maneuverable. Getting a 1 turn, 2 turn, no red on the dial. It can come in handy at times. So that's at least a benefit to the Type 7 shuttlecraft. Please do not ever run a generic. I don't care how desperate you are for hiding a whole bunch of points. Please don't do it. A single crew slot, 12 points. You go run the Ferengi shuttles. That's where you're better off. Data as a captain, and I've done a rankum of Data with Tristan. We disagree on the utility of this Data. I find this Data okay. At the start of the game, you get to place an evade, a scan, and a battle station token on the card. During the activation phase, you can take one of these tokens off the card placed beside your ship, even if there's already one there. So there's times he's useful. He's a relatively cheap talent holder. Skill 3 isn't going to be amazing. He sets up a few nice combos. He can get you target lock battle stations nicely. He could do some double scan shenanigans. There's some fun that's there. In some ways, you can look at it as you probably only have 2 to 3 rounds of meaningful combat. So in that regard, Data is very useful. It's just at some point you're also telegraphing your actions or your available additional actions. I do like that he's kind of a subset of Picard. He just gets way worse if the game goes long. So I guess in some ways I like Data better in OP play, organized play, rather than missions, because missions can play a long time, and if you have a lot of meaningful turns, data isn't going to be the big help that you need. But if you're playing a mission that has a very small number of turns, data can be nice, especially in large point games. Computer analysis is a 4-point talent. During the planning phase, you can discard this card to remove all disabled upgrade tokens from all of your other upgrades. Has a place, I think, if you're going heavy disable weapons and crew, maybe some disabled tech. This is one of the few ways to remove disabled tokens from tech without being an action. So I think there's some positives to this card. I just don't like that it's a one-time use when really I just need uh, a more consistent way to do it. It gets a bit expensive. It can be great if you have a lot of disables to take care of, but it can also be relatively inconsequential. So computer analysis in the right build is amazing, but it's so situational. Is it ever going to make a difference? Probably not. Escape Transporter is a 2-point tech and one I find at least intriguing. When your ship's destroyed, before removing it from the play area, you may discard this card, target a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 that's not cloaked, disable all of that ship's remaining shields, select up to 3 other upgrades that were deployed to this ship, and redeploy them to the target ship. So basically, you get to save 3 things. Could be people, could be crew. Well, people are crew. Could be crew, could be talents, could be weapons, tech, question mark. You got a lot of good flexibility, and I like that. So you got to make your choices, and as long as you play it well, I think this is actually a good card. It's one that doesn't get used a lot because, let's face it, we don't actually want our ship being destroyed. But in the right set of circumstances, this can be a quick way to shift cards around. Think about running a ship off the map to start and then moving cards over to another ship. Could be a play. Then we have Warp Drive. During the activation phase, if you reveal a 2 straight, you can disable this card to perform a white 3 or a red 4, both of those straights. You can only buy this on a Federation shuttlecraft. No ship can have more than 1. Time token version of this would be cool. As it stands, not something I'm going to look forward to. I think unless I'm being forced to play a shuttlecraft and I need it to move straight really fast repeatedly, I don't have a need for this card. My shuttlecraft is going to serve the purpose of existing, deploying crew, and then probably never launching again, or launching in a very extreme set of circumstances to maybe take a shot with like 1 or 2 dice, and that's such a niche idea, and I don't need Warp Drive to make that happen. Cyrano Kohlrami, the only crew on this pack, and that alone is a little disappointing because I think they missed an opportunity to get Catherine Pulaski in here, the known character who would only travel by shuttlecraft, not transporters. And she was a really cool part of Peak Performance, the episode. Although Kohlrami, also cool character. So don't get me wrong. Love to have Kohlrami. Would not have wanted Pulaski at the expense of Kohlrami. Just want them both. I'm greedy that way. But Cyrano Kohlrami, when defending during the compare results step, if you cancel all of your opponent's hit and crit results, you may discard this card and disable one of your other upgrades to immediately roll a number of attack dice equal to the number of hits and crits that were canceled, max of 4. The attacking ship suffers normal damage for every hit or crit result you roll with these dice. This is a card I want to like. I have spent too much time trying to make Kohlrami work. Um, Things like putting him on the NX with enhanced hull plating and Riker from the hood to get an extra defense die and conversions, or putting him on Sutherland, and yeah, there's you could do it with DeSoto, um, and there's cool ideas. The problem is he's a one shot character. Um, I suppose you could bring somebody in who can be discarded instead of him, like a Goval. Uh, but then you also have to have somebody or something to disable in addition. And then you want dice quality. Um, and as much as it pains me, it's like you want Captain Ben Sisko to be able to reroll any die, or a Julian Bashir, something like that. And that just doesn't feel worth it. It feels like the number of things you have to do uh, just doesn't outweigh the good of him. I do like that the attacking ship is suffering damage. It's not an attack against them, it's just they're going to take the damage. But here's the problem is Kohlrami is a target unto himself. And players are either going to avoid him, or they're going to target him with such a massive attack that he can't cancel it all. Those are the two scenarios I've come up with that I've encountered. And I've never made him work. I want to. And I am going to find a way to play him in a mission. I think the new Voyager gives me some hope because it can kind of be alone. It gets an extra defense die. That's a nice baked in ability. And I feel like Kohlrami could be okay. Um, but still, as a 5 point discard, he's never going to be amazing. And I want to point that out. But I do think he has potential. And I'll roll with that. Um, I want to get there with him. I do. So overall, this this pack doesn't have great cards. It has okay cards. Escape Transporter, cool. Computer Analysis, super situational. Data, hit and miss, depends on your play style. I'll default to decent. Um, but really, the Sakharov is a good ship. I won't say it's a great ship, but it's a good ship. And I hate that the only way that a shuttlecraft has been made available, this shuttlecraft, the Ferengi shuttlecraft's available, but the Federation shuttlecraft is in a prize ship. No retail release of it. And because of that, this ship has become really difficult to acquire, really expensive to acquire. And I hate saying it, but it it it's decent enough to at least try to track down. But I can't argue that you should go spend tons of money on it. That being said, if you do find one for a reasonable price, I would say it's at least worth playing, trying. But I would always argue that when something's that out of print, it is much more worthwhile to play it on Tabletop Simulator or to proxy it, because at this point, people should be proxying ships and cards when they're extremely out of print. The stuff that's in print, play it, please. Support the game. But prize ships that are, 8 years old or so, nah, not. No arguments from me outside of like the super official tournaments, which don't really exist. So, uh, there you have it. All right, that's Sakharov. Decent ship, but tough to find. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Appreciate it. And have a great weekend. Uh, Till next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.